and they wear out really fast, and the fish eat it as microplastics. And then you eat the fish. You're a dead man. Name's Tomboy Adera, a freelance naturalist, 60 years old today, but started in the world of nature as a kid, maybe age 14. Been living around the lake for almost the last 50 or 2 years, so I'm home around this general area. All the nature around here I'm home with.
How you can advise our people, how important is this wetland to the protection of birds?
The wetland is very important in that, first of all, it's shielded. What's going to eat a bird in the wetland apart from maybe a snake? And birds are very sensitive. All they'll be able to eat are the sick or the wounded. So the wetlands are very important, not in terms of the food that they produce. Like the number of insects in a wetland are really plentiful. One of them, the mosquito, which you people tend to fear, and maybe if I gave you medicine to kill all the mosquitoes, you'll kill them thinking that you're trying to destroy malaria, but you'll be killing yourself. You fish eaters will be gone because the main food for the fish is mosquitoes. Remember the biggest animal in the world, which is the blue whale? It doesn't feed on meat, it feeds on krill. Krill is something like a mosquito that lives in the ocean. So all the swamps, the wetlands, have these, and these are food to the birds. And it is also shelter because people can't reach there. They have ready water, they're protected. So the wetlands are very important as a place for birds to live in. And I think the acreages of these wetlands should be increased if it were possible, or it were within my jurisdiction. I would increase them because people are destroying them so fast, and mending them is not an easy task. People have been thinking of how do we allow people to move into the wetlands. It would be good because it would make people see things that they've not seen in terms of animal species. For instance, when we are talking about the dunge swamps, in here we have mangoes, in here we have civet cats, in here we have hippos, in here we have sitatunga, the water antelope, which is an African antelope. And ours here is a special one because it's far bigger than the ones that are found elsewhere. Nobody knows why. In here we have crocodiles. And if you're looking at all these animals, each and every one of them has an eco role to play in the environment. For instance, the hippo. The hippo keeps waterways open. If you chase the hippos, the rivers will block. With the weight and hippopotami amphibia, which means the river horse, as they gallop, they start the silt that has come from the hills or whatever during the rainy season, and then it dissolves and moves into the lake. If you let it stay, it is good soil and things will grow on it and the rivers will block. It's happened many places, including Kisumu, a place where I've been a few minutes ago.
Where specifically? Can you tell us?
When you think of a place known as Nyandiwa, there's hundreds of acres of land gone to waste simply because these people, when they were farming and they were growing potatoes, it's only 5 kilometers from Kisumu. When they were growing things like potatoes and maize and so on and millet, and they were chasing the hippos away because they were destroying the crop, the hippos went completely and went to other places. And the Odeso River, the Nyamangura River, got blocked. And so the waters could not go, and for very many years those plots have not been used and been lying fallow. To date, they're still lying fallow, and I believe that's the breadbasket of Kisumu. Once these rivers will be cleared and the hippos will be allowed to rewalk them. Look at the crocodile. It's a scavenger feeding on the sick fish. You go trouble the crocodile in the water, present yourself as food, and then you complain because one person has been taken. But how many dead fish or fish that are sick or whatever lives in the water that's sick or dirty has the crocodile helped take away? They're the scavengers of the water. They clean the water. So everything has an eco role, but the wetlands are very important. And the most important thing about the wetlands is that it's the carbon sink. All the vehicles, all the fire you're burning, the carbon dioxide goes into the wetlands and it's sinks into the papyrus, the typha, the cattails, name all those plants there, and then comes up in the night as oxygen. So wetlands are very important. They're also the kidneys. They're the lungs and the kidneys of the earth. All the dirty water passing through the wetlands is cleaned by the wetlands. I'm not talking about debris, but yes, even plastics get stuck on it, but I'm talking about the chemical part of it. They clean it completely. The hyacinth that we disregard here, very important. It takes in even heavy metals like mercury and lead from the water. So it cleans the water almost to perfection. The only thing left could be E. coli, which is not so easy to clean. So wetlands are very important as the lungs and the kidneys and habitat for wildlife, birds, and name it. So they should be conserved and actioned if possible. More acreages be left or added to the demarcated ones. It is also a source of money for people. Look at the lady doing this now. They're weaving using papyrus, which can only grow in wetlands. They're weaving. And the basket, the kind of chairs people are using now in the cities or in hotels are all made out of this. They use them for roofing. They're everything. So wetlands are really, really important. When somebody thinks about cutting trenches in wetlands and for people to see all these sights and all these birds and animals, I am against it. The only reason why I'm against it is not because I'm being jealous or I'm being selfish that it's only me and a few people who should see this, but it's because of the brain that we still have. When we take those boat rides, we're going to be carrying our picnic foods. Even if we are warned, we're going to be carrying bottles of drinks and so on and dumping it there. Our brain has not been meant for that. People will even carry pampas in bags and go and dump them there. You've seen it all along the road in the wetlands. Maybe you've not. If you've not, take photos of them as you go towards the yacht club. Look on this side and that side. You will see Ghani bags. Or even if you're headed towards Dunga, I'll point out some. Ghani bags of pampas. And pampas is a very dangerous thing. There's some plastics inside the pampa, which downgrade really fast. And most of this thrown around these places ends up in the water. Just like what you have plait your hair with also ends up in the water. And they wear out really fast and the fish eat it as microplastics. And then you eat the fish. You're a dead man. Your cells are going to be plastic cells. You go to hospital for treatment, you won't be treated. Maybe when you hear about the EU banning fish from blah, 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 you don't know what's not happening. That is what's not happening. And it's really, really dangerous, and that's why I feel that the wetlands should stay, especially around our city. Look at the topography of our city, Kisumu. It's like a hill. The city is concentrated a bit downhill. The estates are concentrated uphill. And most of the waste, like water runs, they run downhill. Take the Auji, for instance. It flows into the Wigwa and finally into Lake Victoria. How much waste does it put into the Victoria Lake? I've seen it. I've dove under. In 20 minutes, we produced 30 kilos of plastic. 2 of us. Plastics from 6 months. It was only Hippos sugar that was functional at that time as a sugar factory. And the Lato milk they'd only started importing Lato milk from Uganda, and it was only 6 months later. And that's what we found, basically, in the plenty. Out of the 30 kilos, there was about 25 kilos of bags, and we've been having plastics for the last 60 years. So those wetlands are very important. So cutting these trenches in maybe 2030 and beyond that, after we educate the child, because the adult will never listen. He will never understand. He will say God provided, God will take care of it. Not knowing that God gave everybody a brain so that they can take care of the environment where they live. And that is about wetlands.